homies? Welcome back to my channel. I just wanted to film something today, and I had no idea what to film. So I thought it'd be a good idea maybe if I told you guys kind of like the biggest story that I have, like the worst thing that's ever happened to me. It does involve like a lot of medical talk, and I was in the hospital for a pretty long time. So if that stuff like freaks you out or anything like that, I would probably not watch this video because I'm gonna go in depth. I won't show any like pictures or anything like that. Maybe just pictures of me in the hospital, just so, because if I don't have pictures, then that actually didn't happen, you know? Yeah, I will be talking in detail kind of what happened to me and the situation that I was in. So if that freaks you out, I would probably not watch this video. So when I was about 17, I lived in a pretty nice place. It was just in the middle of nowhere. And I went to a school that was also in the middle of nowhere. And I just started feeling sick. Like, I couldn't keep anything down. I didn't want to eat anything. I just felt overall like generally not well. And it happened for about a week and a half. And I thought maybe it was like the flu, or I had maybe caught a stomach bug or something like that. And then I just got better. It was within, a couple of days. And probably 3 or 4 days after that, I was at school and I was in my last period, and I was feeling so sick, like the sickest I've ever been. Cold sweats, couldn't keep anything down. I could barely walk. I couldn't sit in my chair the right way. And I asked to go to the bathroom because I couldn't physically stand sitting down. I didn't want to sit down. I didn't want to sit down. It made me uncomfortable. I was like wiggling around in my chair. I get up from my chair. I was in the art room. I was in art class. So I get out of my chair. The bathroom's probably like 300 or 400 feet away from the class I'm in. And as soon as I stand up, I feel like something's just terribly wrong. So I walk out the door, and all of a sudden something hits me, and I feel like I can't walk anymore. And I didn't have to use the bathroom or anything like that. It was just like, I just wanted to walk somewhere because whatever was happening to my body was not normal. Ended up using kind of like taking my shoulder and putting it against the lockers in the hallway, and kind of using the lockers as something to like hold myself up to while I'm walking down the hallway, because it felt like my body just wanted to give out. I finally make it into the bathroom, and once I get there, I just remember leaning back on the wall and sliding down and sitting on the bathroom floor. And I don't know what was happening. I had never been sick like this before. You're so cute. You want to say hi? Come here. Go say hi. Oh, my puppy. This is Oakley. Sorry, we're taking an Oakley break right now. Go lay down. Go lay down. He's such a good boy. Anyways, I never had anything happen like this to my body at all. I was kind of tripping out because like I can't even stand, right? I kind of just chill out there for like the rest of this. I feel like I didn't have that much longer left, like longer of school, on the bathroom floor, just like sitting there. I probably look such a freaking weirdo, like all sick, eyes sunken in, just like a zombie sitting on the bathroom floor. Finally, I muster up whatever. I start to feel a little bit better, and then I'm like, all right, I'm dipping. I'm getting out of here. So I drove myself home, surprising for what I'm about to tell you. I drove myself home. At the time, I worked at a Burger King, and I had work that night. When I got home, I put like my whole Burger King shit on, right? My whole get up. And I had it's like the tennis cap, the Burger King, I forget what that's called. There's like no top to it. I put that shit on, everything, right? G'd out in my Burger King uniform. And I lay down on the couch, and I just go to sleep. And I wake up to my mom being like, yo, what the fuck? Why are you not at work right now? And my parents, obviously, they knew that I, had not been feeling good, but I don't think they ever thought that I would be sick. I was sick for a week, and that's usually what happens. You get sick for a week. I was complaining about not feeling great, right? But I've been like that before. And even me, like if I knew that there was actually something wrong, I'd be like, yo, I need to go to the hospital. So I looked at my mom and I was like, Mom, something is not right. I need you to take me to the hospital. Going to the hospital is a big thing, that's, because what if you show up to I know it's better safe than sorry, but what if you show up to the hospital and nothing's wrong with you. So anyways, we're talking about it. She ends up taking me to the hospital. We go to the hospital, I get in, I get admitted. They do my blood work and they take me through a bunch of scans and stuff like that. The doctor walks in, so the diagnosis, I think is that how you say that? I think so. I think that's how you say it. The diagnosis is that I had a appendix that had ruptured, right? And that's usually not that big of a deal. It happens. But my appendix ruptured 2 weeks ago. The reason I was feeling the way that I was I had infection built up in my stomach. They had said that at that point in time, it was I had a softball-sized infection in the bottom of my abdomen. So 2 weeks prior, my appendix had gotten infected. I had walked around with an infected appendix for 1 week, and those couple of days that I felt better or felt like completely fine was because my appendix actually ruptured. So I had a bunch of built up nasty infection in my appendix. It was making me feel all sick, all nasty, and it ruptured. So I had a couple of days where I wasn't feeling all of that pressure. There was infection, but it was kind of spread across my body. So I didn't feel the pain of the appendix, right? And then what that can lead to is sepsis, which is the infection of your blood. Luckily, I didn't get to sepsis. The doctor had told me while he was telling me all of these things about the infection in my stomach, my appendix being ruptured, he had told me that it was so bad, if I would have waited another 10 hours, that there would have been nothing that they could have done for me. And they basically would have just have had to let nature kind of take its course with the infection in my body, basically. So they tell me, we're going to rush you to emergency surgery right now. We're going to go in laparoscopically, which I don't know if you know what that means, but it's like the rod with the little claw on the front of it, and they're going to try to clean most of the infection out of my body. So I get put back in surgery. Super scary because I had never been in like a room like that before. I had put on a little silver bath cap. I'll put a picture in. It looks like I'm trying to not get abducted by aliens or not have them read my mind. But spirits are pretty high, right? I was just excited that I kind of figured out what was wrong with me and that we were getting it taken care of. One funny thing that had happened was when they actually laid me on the table, which is just like a cold metal table. The anesthesiologist is talking to me and he's saying like, we're gonna play a game. No, I'm just kidding. The anesthesiologist is like, we're gonna play a game. I'm gonna put this on your nose, your mouth and nose, and I want you to count back from 10. I want to see how far you make it. I didn't fucking make that. I didn't make it till like 4. But before that happened, they laid me on this table and they kind of spread my arms out, and they're putting my arms in like these contraptions that are, it's like Velcro wrapped around my arm, and I'm assuming so it's like I don't twitch, but they were doing that as I'm going to sleep. So I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what's happening? And I mean, obviously I was scared or whatever, but I probably knew that meant that like, so I wouldn't twitch or, something like that. And I woke up like normal, very foggy, a couple of tubes coming out of my body. I call them grenades. That's what they look like. Basically squeezed them. Any infection that's left inside of your stomach or inside of your body, it should kind of like slowly pull it out. You would squeeze it, it would deflate, and over time it would inflate, and it would kind of take all of the nasty stuff out. So that was part 1, right? I get home. I'm in the hospital for a couple of days. I get home, so I have the tubes in. I have to go to a specialist to get these tubes out. It was probably like maybe a week later, week and a half later. I'm still recovering. This by far was the worst part of my entire time in the hospital. They laid me on a table and the doctor was like, these tubes are only a little bit inside of your body, probably like maybe 3 or 4 inches. I'm gonna pull them out on the count of 3. He counted to 2 and then pulled, and those bitches were not fucking 3 or 4 inches inside my body. It was like 6. It was long, and I had 2 of them. And I mean, turned white as a ghost. I just immediate, like, I'm gonna pass out, right? So a couple weeks goes by, I'm still healing. I got, I have those two little incisions, and I'm doing better. So I'm on my way to school one morning. It was my first day back to school. I had an appointment scheduled for the week after. That was gonna be like the determining factor if they had got all the infection out or not. And I started feeling the same way. It's kind of hard to explain. It's almost like sometimes you get anxiety and it's kind of like in your chest. It feels like that, but physically. It's real weird. It's like a achy pain, right? So I start feeling this pain again. I had felt it in the morning, but I was like, I'm nervous, I'm scared. So I told my mom, who's taking me to school, I'm like, I don't feel well again. All of us kind of learned our lesson of like, we need to take this shit serious because last time it could have been fatal. So my mom takes me to the hospital. We go through the whole process again, blood works, CAT scans. It's either CAT or MRI. I can't remember which one does which. I think it's a CAT scan. I got a CAT scan done. It showed that I had infection in my body again. And not only this time was it in my stomach, but it was up near my lungs. And basically the first doctors got some of it out, but not all of it. This time around, they decided to not go in laparoscopically. And they were like, one of the doctors was like, do you ever plan on being an underwear model? I totally could have been. And he ruined my dreams. Totally could have been. Right? Right? But he asked me if I ever had plans to be an underwear model, and I was like, no, dude, do what you gotta do. So basically the plan was they were gonna cut me from my belly button down my torso, about 6 inches, 7 inches, kind of physically clean all the infection out. We do the surgery again, same thing happens. I wake up with tubes again, which if you remember what I just said, that was the worst part of my whole surgery. Not me getting cut open, not the medicine, not the anything like that. It was those tubes. I was surprised to see them. And not much was really different than the first surgery, except for I was a lot more sore. They had me on crazy drugs. I think I was on liquid morphine, which I don't like. Liquid morphine basically made me really, really anxious, like paranoid, and then I was asleep. I was passed out. And I was on a dripper, which is like a little almost like a little detonator thing, right? And you just click it and it drips into your IV. And you can do it like every 15 minutes. It kind of controls how much you are actually able to do this morphine, right? And obviously I needed it because they had just cut me open 8 inches and reopened the incisions where those grenade things were, right? Look, I'm saying detonator and grenade like I was in a war. It felt like it. It felt like it, but it wasn't war. The healing process started. It was a rough healing process. This is just kind of where the fun began. Shortly after that, I had no immune system. So over the last couple of months, I've been getting pumped with IVs and all of this different medicine that's killing all of the bacteria in my body, all the infection, but it's also killing all of the good bacteria as well, things that help fight off things. When I was in the hospital, I'm recovering, I get super sick again. Just out of the blue. I get an infection, I spike a fever, and I can't get that fever down. They put me in the ICU. I think I was in the ICU for 2 or 3 days, something like that. While they're telling me like I'm gonna be okay, which again, I'm high on morphine most of the time. They're telling my parents like, if we can't get this fever down, he's not gonna make it through the night. Second time that my body tried to kill itself. I had no part in this. It just was like, I'm fucking out of here. Thank God that the fever went down and I made it out of the ICU. Now I'm sitting in a room and I get sick again. And this time it's from C. diff. So if you don't know what C. diff is, it's fucking disgusting. It usually just happens in hospitals, and it is literally because in hospitals people are getting fed antibiotics, and antibiotics are killing all of the good and the bad bacteria in your body. This was killing all the good bacteria, so when I caught C. diff, it's very easy to catch in a hospital. And it is very hard to get rid of, and it is very easily transmittable, I think is a right word. So I was quarantined. This is before COVID, this is pre-COVID. So I was like, you know the scene in Monsters, Inc.?
That was a close one.
Okay. That's what it felt like. That's what I felt like. There was only one person allowed to visit me, it was my mom. She was all in the whole like mask and gown, get up and shit. Everything was wrapped in plastic. Still high on liquid morphine. I hated it, but I kind of loved it a little bit. No, I hated liquid. I hate being on drugs. I hate it. So I catch C. diff, and then I'm in the hospital again for like, or not. And like again, I'm still in the hospital, but I'm just transferred into a like sterile room or whatever you want to call it, and I'm there for I want to say like another week or two. So at this point in time, just my second surgery alone, I've been in the hospital for like a month and a half. A funny story is, I don't know if I should tell this. It's so crazy. Me and you are getting real personal. When I was in quarantine for having C. diff or whatever, I again, was high on morphine. C. diff makes you not really be able to control your bowels. This nurse was trying to tell me like, hey, let's try to get up. I'm still cut up. I'm still real sore, right? The nurse was like, let's try to get up and walk, and let's try to see if you can walk into the bathroom. I am fucked up. Like, I don't think you understand. Like, I'm kind of putting it lightly. I'm fucked up. I don't think you understand how much you use your abdomen. Like how much, like to stand up, you use your abdomen. To like crouch over, abdomen. Basically, besides like your arms and your legs, you use your abdomen. I can't stand up. I have my IV. I always had to carry my little IV thing around with me. I don't know what it's called, but the thing that hooks the IVs. I'm not a doctor, okay? I don't fucking know. But I had that thing on me all the time. I always had an IV in my arm. Had that thing on me. So I stand up and I look down. I look at the nurse and then I look down again. Somebody shit in my bed. Who came in my room and pooped in my bed? And I was legitimately serious. I can't control it, but I'm high. And I'm like, I didn't do that. I think it was like, I knew somewhere I was embarrassed about it. But anyways, so I ended up actually like being able to like walk around a little bit. And my dad is like definitely like one of the, what do you call it? Like softball dads that just like, if you're going to do something, you're going to do it right. The doctor just wanted me to walk like 200 steps or whatever. And my dad was like, nah, bitch, if he's walking 200, he's walking 500. So I was just like, I was just walking my little thing around and I had to be hunched over like this. It ended up being okay. So I had spent so much money on my insurance. They didn't want to take me. I still had stuff that I needed to get through, like my IVs and stuff like that, but they didn't want to pay for me to have a hospital bed anymore. I'm fucked up. I can barely walk. You know what I mean? Like it's hard for me to walk 500 steps. They're like, we don't have a bed for you anymore. You can't be here anymore. But what we can do is we're going to send you home. We're going to discharge you from the hospital. They couldn't put a pick in my chest, something that's kind of normal. When you have to have lots of medicines or IV flushes or anything, they'll put a pick in, but they were afraid that they put a pick in. I've had fevers. I have some kind of weird infection. It just keeps showing up. It's an infection around kind of everything. If they put that pick in, it'll get infected. By law, you can only have one singular IV in for 24 hours. I left the hospital with an IV in my arm. I went home. I was laying on the couch. It's easier for my parents to take care of me a little bit. And I kind of have to, like, depending on which arm it is, I kind of have to hold my arm out like this. I went back the next day. I got my medicine that I needed to, got the IV taken out. So then I had 24 hours where I had no IV and I could kind of like do whatever I needed to do, right? 24 hours, I'd go back, they'd put another IV in, I'd go home, we'd leave the IV in for another 24 hours. That way they weren't just poking me every single day. Some of those nurses don't know how to put an IV in. I'm not trying to call out anybody, but please, if you're a nurse, make sure that you are really figuring out where the vein is, executing it properly. Because I have pretty much all the veins in my arms are just blown out. When I get like hot or I'm working out or anything like that, you can see the bubbles in my veins from just being destroyed by taking IVs in and out. So I did that for 2 weeks. I had that happen for 2 weeks. Literally the worst 2 weeks of my whole life. Not only am I now having to get up, walk to the car again, hunched over, trying not to use as much of my abdomen. I'm also have to drive 45 minutes away to the hospital that we went to. Walking into the hospital, getting all my medication, walking out of the hospital, getting back in the car, driving back home to then walk back inside. Like there's a lot of moving parts that's happening for me to be able to just do this. Instead, I could have just stayed in the hospital and got the stuff that I needed. But insurance doesn't like spending money. And I get that I racked up a bill. I racked up a bag. But still, I mean, come on. So from there, I just went through the healing process. When I had went into the hospital, it was about summertime-ish. And when everything was said and done, like being able to be outside and I didn't feel the wind or anything for like a month. It is crazy what just being outside can do for you. You know, those were some dark times. Sitting in that hospital bed at 17, and that's hard. Being told that you don't know if you're gonna make it your next day. Being told that you don't know what the future holds for you because you are so sick. So even just feeling the wind on my face and seeing the sun, it was amazing. I mean, I think it was the end of fall time, almost winter time when I had gotten out of the hospital. Middle of summer to the end of fall. And on top of that, thinking that like you're gonna die. I'm gonna try to see if I can find a picture. I don't know if I'll be able to, but I went into the hospital that summer. I weighed 155 pounds. When I got out, more towards the winter time, I weighed 95 pounds. I was almost 18 when I got out. I would have turned 18 within just a couple, maybe a month or so. 95 pounds. I look like Skeletor. So then, I don't know, real life started. I got over everything healed fine. I had such a bad case that, two things. The hospital that I was at had to fly out a specialist, an infectious disease doctor from California, for him to do a residency because my body was so bad. I don't know if you say residency. They flew him out, they paid him, flew him out here just for my case specifically. And I'm from the Indy area. I was told that my MRI scans or CAT scans, whatever it is, were being sent to the IU Health School, doctor school, I don't fucking know. They were being sent there for the worst case of appendicitis that they have ever seen. So that's kind of cool. I'm be in a history book maybe. But other than that, I mean, everything healed kind of fine. I rock a fat ass scar. I have my scars. They're battle wounds. But it's given me a better outlook on life. I don't think if I wouldn't have gone through that, I would not be as appreciative of my life today. Being in a hospital bed for, months on end and just wanting to be outside, wanting just this very simplest of things, just to walk around. I wake up every morning and I am so blessed to live the life that I live now because it's almost like I'm on borrowed time. It's hard to reason with the fact that you could have died. That near-death experience has shifted your path to love life. I wake up every morning blessed that I can see, walk, and hear. I'm just very blessed. And I'm so appreciative of everything. Everything's not great. Everything's not perfect. Financially, I struggle financially. I struggle mentally. I struggle physically sometimes. I struggle with purpose. I have lots of struggles, but it makes it a whole lot easier when you think about, I'm here, I'm alive, I'm here. I get to stand up in the morning, scroll on my phone. You and me right now, no matter what situation you're in, we are blessed. I'm happy you're here. Like I said, I'm glad that I had went through something like that because it opened my eyes to how beautiful the world is, how beautiful everything is. Just to be able to walk outside when you want to, or just be able to look at the sky. Anyways, that's my story. That is the biggest thing that has ever happened to me. I hold it near and dear to my heart. Taught me a lot of lessons. If you liked this video, if you liked this kind of like storytelling thing, let me know. But I have a lot of stories. So I appreciate you so much. Have a nice day. Later.